In programming, there can be two types of errors in your code. There can be a syntax error, which could be incorrect spelling of syntax, a keyword or a function call, or it could be a runtime error. And a runtime error occurs during the execution of the program. For example, calling an invalid function or variable. These errors that occur during runtime are called exceptions. We're going to take a look at how we can handle these exceptions using try, catch, finally, and throw. So here in my editor, I have the outline of a try catch block. So we see here, inside the body of the try block, so here in my editor, we see the outlay of a try catch block, and within the body of the try block is the code that will be executed, and the catch block takes a parameter or whatever error parameter there may be, and then we handle that error in the body of that catch block. All right, so let's take a look at an example. So I'm going to declare, let's say numerator, and set it equal to 100. Let's set a denominator equal to a letter. So now let us do a console log. And we're going to attempt to divide our numerator by our denominator. All right, so now inside our, and we're going to also console log, let's console log A. Now inside the body of our catch, we are going to just do console log and print an error was caught. And the actual error message. So we're going to concat the error. All right, so let us save this and take a look at our console and refresh. Click on our file. All right, so we get an error was caught and our error message. Okay, so it's not showing us an error message. Let's take a look what we did here. Okay, right, so this should be at the end. So let's save this, do a refresh. All right, so now we get our error message and it tells us that it's a reference error, right? So A is not defined, right? So because we tried to pretty much divide our numerator by the denominator, it's letting us know that it was not defined. Right, so this is caused because when you try to print the A variable, the program is going to throw an error, and that is what was actually caught here in our catch block. This variable A is not defined, right? If we were to add a finally block to our catch after our catch, and let's do a console log. And we can just say this will be executed regardless. So whether we catch an exception, our finally block will be executed every single time. So let us refresh this. And even though we have an exception, we see here that our finally block still gets executed. So try and catch statements handle exceptions in a standard way, which is provided by JavaScript and other programming languages. However, you can use a throw statement to pass a user-defined exception. So in JavaScript, the throw statement can handle certain exceptions. For instance, if you try to divide a number by 0, so let us define a number. And let's just say const number equals to 5. We can actually throw number divided by 0. And if we save this and go back and refresh, right, so we get an exception here. An exception is thrown because obviously you're not supposed to divide any number by 0. So if you consider infinity as an exception, you can use the throw statement to handle that exception. Let's take a look at another example. So let me comment this out. And let's define a number. And open up our try block. And we're going to do a check to see if our number is greater than 50. And if it is, we're going to do a console log and just print success. Else, we're going to throw a user-defined error. So this is an error that I, as the programmer or the user, is going to throw. So I'm going to throw a new error. And I'm going to say the number is low. And below our if-else statement, I am also going to console log this executes if throw doesn't. Right, so as long as throw executes, this line of code will not. So we need an escape string here. Close that up. And in our catch block, we're going to pass in our error. And we're going to console log our error message. And also concat the error. Okay, so let us save this and let us do a refresh. Right, so we get an error message saying the number is low because obviously 40 is less than 50. Okay, so because the exception was thrown, the program did not console log this line. If this number, however, is greater than 50, let us save it and refresh. Right, so we get success and this executes if the throw doesn't. Right, so that's essentially how we can handle exceptions in JavaScript using try, catch, and finally, and also using our throw statement to throw custom user-defined exceptions.